Marcus Chen had seen many strange things during his 3 years as a cargo runner on the frontier stations, but he never expected to be babysitting a Vraxian kit. The creature was barely the size of a house cat, covered in midnight black fur with 6 legs and teeth that could already shred through metal cables. Its species was known across 12 systems as apex predators, the kind that made seasoned Marines check their corners twice. The kit's name was something that translated roughly to Stalker of the Twin Moons, but Marcus just called him Spike. The little predator had been orphaned when pirates attacked a diplomatic vessel 2 weeks ago. Marcus had found him hiding in a cargo container, mewing pitifully among scattered supply crates. Against every regulation and probably his better judgment, Marcus had smuggled the kid aboard his ship. Now they were docked at Outpost 17, a ramshackle trading station that straddled the border between civilized space and the lawless zones. Marcus needed to refuel and resupply before making the long journey to the Vraxian homeworld. Spike needed proper food, the kind that came from actual prey, not the synthetic paste Marcus had been feeding him. The marketplace buzzed with activity. Merchants from a dozen species hawked their wares under flickering neon signs. Marcus kept Spike hidden in his jacket, feeling the kit's warm body pressed against his chest. The little claws kneaded his shirt nervously. Vraxians might be feared predators as adults, but the kits were vulnerable, and there were people who would pay handsomely for an exotic pet or worse, for parts used in illegal genetic experiments. Marcus was haggling over the price of fuel cells when he heard the first scream. The marketplace erupted into chaos. People scattered in every direction as pulse rifle fire crackled through the air. Marcus ducked behind a vendor stall, his heart hammering. Through the panic, he spotted them. 5 figures in mismatched armor, faces hidden behind masks, weapons firing indiscriminately into the crowd. Raiders. They were here for a quick smash and grab, taking whatever valuables they could carry and leaving bodies behind. Spike whimpered against Marcus's chest, a tiny sound of fear that cut through the noise like a knife. The kit had already lost his family to violence. Marcus felt the small body trembling, felt the rapid heartbeat against his own. Then Marcus saw her. A young girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, had frozen in the middle of the marketplace. She was a Talarian, with pale blue skin and large eyes that were wide with terror. Her parents were nowhere in sight, probably swept away in the stampede. She stood there, alone and exposed, while one of the raiders turned his weapon toward her. Marcus should have stayed hidden. The smart thing, the survival thing, was to wait it out. He was just a cargo runner, not a soldier. He had no armor, no weapon, nothing but the clothes on his back and a predator kit tucked in his jacket. Spike gave a single whimper. Marcus was already sprinting into the gunfire. His legs pumped hard against the station's metal decking. The world seemed to slow down, sounds becoming muffled except for his own breathing and the pounding of his boots. The raider's finger was tightening on the trigger. The little girl's mouth opened in a scream that Marcus couldn't hear. He slammed into the child at full speed, wrapping his arms around her and twisting his body to take the brunt of their fall. They hit the ground hard, sliding behind an overturned cart just as pulse fire scorched the air where the girl had been standing. The impact knocked the wind from Marcus's lungs, but he didn't stop moving. He pushed the girl beneath him, shielding her with his body. Spike squirmed in his jacket, squeaking in protest but unharmed. More pulse fire raked overhead, heating the metal cart until Marcus could feel warmth radiating through it. "Stay down!" Marcus gasped to the girl. She nodded, tears streaming down her face, her small hands clutching his shirt. The firing paused. Marcus risked a glance over the cart. The raiders were advancing, confident now. They'd seen him run out, seen he was unarmed. One of them was laughing, saying something to his companions that Marcus couldn't make out. Marcus's mind raced. The station's security would respond eventually, but eventually might be too late. He needed to buy time, needed to keep the raiders' attention away from the dozens of civilians still scrambling for cover. Then Spike bit him. It wasn't a hard bite, just a nip on the collarbone, but it snapped Marcus back to awareness. The kit wriggled out of his jacket and onto the ground, standing between Marcus and the approaching raiders. Despite being barely larger than a loaf of bread, Spike's back arched, and he released a sound that Marcus had never heard before. It started low, barely audible, then rose to a shriek that made every instinct in Marcus's primate brain scream danger. It was the hunting cry of a Vraxian, usually made by adults before they struck. But this kit, this orphaned baby, was making his first war cry. The raiders stopped. They knew that sound. Everyone in the frontier knew that sound. Marcus seized the moment. He grabbed a metal pipe from the debris around them and charged. The element of surprise was all he had. The first raider was still processing the sight of a Vraxian kit when Marcus's pipe caught him across the helmet, sending him sprawling. The others turned their weapons, but Marcus was already moving, using the fallen raider's body as cover. He rolled, came up swinging, caught another raider in the knee joint. The armor protected against energy weapons, but blunt trauma still worked just fine. Spike wasn't idle. The kit launched himself at the nearest raider's leg, tiny jaws finding the gap between armor plates. The raider screamed, trying to shake off the predator, but Vraxian jaws locked when they bit. Blood sprayed. Marcus didn't think. His body moved on pure adrenaline and instinct. Another swing, another raider down. He grabbed a dropped pulse rifle, though he barely knew how to use it. Just pointing it was enough to make the remaining raiders hesitate. Then station security arrived, a full squad in powered armor with heavy weapons. The firefight was over in seconds. The raiders who could still move surrendered immediately. Marcus collapsed against the overturned cart, his entire body shaking. Spike trotted back to him, blood on his muzzle but tail held high. The kit climbed into Marcus's lap and began purring, a deep rumble that seemed too large for such a small body. The Talarian girl crawled out from her hiding spot and wrapped her arms around Marcus's neck, sobbing. Her parents arrived moments later, thanking him in broken common while trying to pull their daughter away, but she wouldn't let go. A station security officer approached, a grizzled Cantharian with battle scars across his scaled face. "That was either the bravest or the stupidest thing I've ever seen a human do," he said. Marcus looked down at Spike, who was cleaning blood from his paws with careful precision. The kit looked up at him with eyes that were already beginning to show the sharp intelligence of his species. "He needed to know," Marcus said quietly. "Know what?" "That someone would come when he called. That he wasn't alone." Marcus stroked the kit's head with one finger. "His family died protecting others. I figured someone should teach him that's still worth doing." The officer studied Marcus for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "We'll need a statement, but you're free to go after that. And Chen, the Vraxian ambassador is going to want to meet you. What you did today, protecting their kit, running into fire for a child not your own, that means something to them." Marcus just nodded, too exhausted to fully process the words. He held Spike close, feeling the kit's heartbeat steady and strong against his palm. Around them, the marketplace was slowly returning to normal. Vendors were righting their stalls, civilians were emerging from cover, and medical teams were tending to the wounded. The little girl finally released Marcus, but before her parents led her away, she pressed something into his hand. A small carved pendant, a Talarian good luck charm. Marcus closed his fist around it. As station security took his statement and the chaos gradually subsided, Marcus made a decision. He'd been just a cargo runner, moving goods from system to system, living a quiet life on the edges of civilization. But Spike had reminded him of something important. Sometimes the whimper of someone in need was all the reason you needed to act. Maybe there was more he could do than just run cargo. Maybe there were more people who needed help. More kits who needed protection, more chances to prove that humanity, for all its flaws, would run into the gunfire when it mattered. Spike purred louder, as if agreeing with his thoughts. Marcus smiled and scratched behind the kit's ears, right where he liked it. "Come on, little guy, let's get you home,"